Let's watch this video.
Cryptocurrency was something that only mattered to smelly men who are also probably criminals. To many normal people who do things like go outside, it seemed like this incel dweeb money would never become anything more than a niche interest or a means of exchange between perverts and the Taliban. But despite all of that, today, the United States government and many mainstream financial institutions are embracing crypto with open arms and huge boners, leading me to ask the question, all right, everybody, sit down, open your ears, and close your legs, because I'm about to read an explainer on cryptocurrency.
Okay.
If we get through this, you have permission to stop this video and get a healthy snack.
All right.
Investopedia defines cryptocurrency as a digital or virtual
Wait, is this like just
currency
an overview of
that exists
crypto?
on a decentralized network of computers and is not issued by a central authority like a government. The first cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, was invented by an anonymous person or group named Satoshi Nakamoto after they published a paper in 2008 describing their vision for a purely peer-to-peer version of electronic cash that would allow online payments to be sent directly from one party to another without going through a
Have you guys ever seen Satoshi Nakamoto and Squeaks in the same room? Ever notice how Squeaks supposedly had a job that he was fired from right at the exact same time as the crypto white paper was being written? You ever notice that Squeaks somehow can afford to live in New York despite having 0 subs because not a single person's ever subbed to his content? I think it's all fucking adding up.
financial institution. Bitcoin remains the most famous and by far the largest cryptocurrency today. In the simplest terms, Bitcoin is a huge spreadsheet in which column A is the anonymized names of Bitcoin owners and column B is how many they have. The innovation of Bitcoin is that it distributes the record keeping of that spreadsheet to a network of computers across the world called the blockchain. Bitcoin's proponents say that that feature makes it a superior form of money to government-issued or fiat currency because it doesn't rely on a central banking system. In your opinion, as an investigative reporter who's covered crypto extensively, in the year 2025, in God's year 2025, is crypto legit now?
You know, it's like medium legit. I think even crypto people would admit that if you were to just pick a cryptocurrency at random, the odds are like very good that it's a scam.
Zeke Fox is a veteran.
It's just so funny. That's so standard in the world of crypto. Yeah, they're mostly scams.
Investigative reporter for Bloomberg who has covered the crypto industry extensively. So extensively that he even wrote a book called Number Go Up, Crypto's Wild Rise and Staggering Fall. In it, Zeke describes his time reporting on Sam Bankman-Fried's now infamous cryptocurrency company, FTX, which surfed the industry's initial wave of mainstream popularity in the late 2010s to become the era's blue-chip institution for trading digital currencies. Before it was revealed in 2022 that what FTX meant by trading digital currencies was give us your money so we can steal it.
I was down in the Bahamas at the kind of peak of the mania, just after the Super Bowl, where FTX had aired that ad with Larry David, and we'd seen a lot of other ads for crypto companies. And what it seemed like to me, I mean, we were in the Bahamas.
Dude, the Matt Damon one, that whole Super Bowl was crypto fever. There was like 8 crypto ads.
Because they're trying to get around US regulations.
Yeah,
it seemed like they basically created this giant semi-unregulated offshore casino
Fortune favors
where people
the bold,
could go and bet on the prices of all these different dumb coins, and that it was kind of bad because most people would probably lose money. But what I did not suspect at all was that he had taken all the money that people had deposited at his casino and stolen it. That thought never crossed my mind, honestly.
FTX collapsed in 2022, bringing crypto
Poor
prices down with
SBF,
it,
dude. He
creating
could've
a
held out one more
bloodbath to
year.
rival history's bloodiest of baths. It was precisely like the Battle of the Bulge, except instead of hundreds of thousands of human casualties, what was lost was tens of billions of dollars that people had voluntarily chosen to invest in computer money that is famous for its volatility. I asked Zeke to think back to the aftermath of those harrowing days.
Almost all cryptocurrencies were down, 70, 90%. It looked terrible for the industry. And it was kind of hard to imagine that there'd be this mass of people who'd be like, hey, let's give that another shot. The one exception I would have made at the time is Bitcoin. It's developed this huge cult around it. People who think that Bitcoin is the solution for every problem in the world, and
It
who are
is.
just so committed to it.
How
that
could it not
they
be?
kind of put a floor on the price. Think about like the Insane Clown Posse.
I often
Like,
do.
is their music good?
Art
What?
is subjective.
Fair. Okay. I'm gonna say it's bad. But like, am I gonna bet that no one's gonna come to the gathering of the Juggalos next year? Like, no. That's sort of like Bitcoin.
Got it.
These guys are Juggalos.
Despite whatever we might think about Insane Clown,
What a crazy
Insane
metaphor.
Clown Posse, the Juggalos will be there every year.
Yes. Now, will the Juggalos take over the world? I would argue that in
a
the
way
end,
they
the
have.
Juggalos have kind of a limited appeal. The Bitcoiners would say, no, like, we're gonna take over the world. Because, okay, they have one thing that the Juggalos don't have, which is like, what if by recruiting more Juggalos, you would get rich? Maybe that would make you work harder to recruit Juggalos.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden the music starts to sound a little bit better.
Yeah.
When you can make money off of doing it.
What if you could just donate a lot of money to the
actually
president,
not a bad-
and then he would become a Juggalo? Then, like, all the people who like him might be Juggalos too.
Indeed, over the first year of the current Trump administration, the long arm of the federal government has reached out its hot iron and stamped the underside of our great nation with the glowing brand of Bitcoin. President Executive Order, the creation of a strategic Bitcoin reserve and a digital asset stockpile. Congress passed a bill with flying bipartisan support to legalize stablecoins, which are cryptocurrencies whose value is tied to the US dollar. So basically crypto dollars. Then the House passed a different bill, again with flying bipartisan.
Just want to be so clear about what's going on with the Genius Act and with the fucking stable coins. Okay, you take your fucking money and you're like, I don't want to buy US debt anymore. I don't want to buy US treasuries. This is what we need you to buy to keep our government functioning, basically. But the world is buying less US debt. So instead, we're leaning heavily into this Genius Act and the stable coins. This is a stable coin. And the stable coin goes up with the rise of crypto, and you put your money into this. And then this takes your money and buys government debt. I'm not kidding. I've heard it described as a Hail Mary attempt to keep the government funded through crypto. And they call it the fucking Genius Act. It's like Operation Iraqi Freedom. And so they just name it the opposite of what it is. But the problem is like countries are wising, like some countries might use this, but almost everyone else, like a Saudi Arabia or whatever, they want their money to earn a return, and these things give 0% yield. So they'll take their money and they'll put it in currency that's appreciating and not depreciating, like the Swiss franc, or they'll do some kind of fucking RMB bond with China. Like, they're not going to put their money in a goddamn 0% yield stablecoin that just buys treasuries.
Partisan support, which would establish a very friendly regulatory framework for all cryptocurrencies, not just stablecoins, and that is currently going through that dang old Senate.
How is this different than what we saw from the Biden administration?
It's dramatically different.
Eleanor Mueller is a reporter for Semaphore covering Congress, and this year, covering Congress means covering crypto.
There's a Republican president who's called himself, the most pro-crypto president. There's a House and a Senate controlled by Republicans, in part because the crypto super PAC spent so much money to make sure that happened. There's a lot of momentum for legislation. I think a lot of it is lobbying. I think that
Has it really paid up? I mean, they spent a fuck ton of money lobbying and getting all the regulation they wanted. And in the end, Bitcoin year to date is down. So all that shit didn't, they dumped a bunch of money. Trump milked them dry, pumped and dumped his own meme coin, made a bunch of money, but the crypto industry is not.
after FTX, the industry has since established itself as a Washington powerhouse.
Folks, it's safe to say that the crypto industry is lobbying like the bottom floor of a fucking hotel. This year, the industry has already raised $263 million to go to work sucking off Capitol Hill, which means that when it comes to sucking off Capitol Hill, they're now at the same level as Big Oil. And folks, if you're sucking off Capitol Hill like Big Oil sucks off Capitol Hill, well, quite frankly, you should be given the Pulitzer Prize for sucking off Capitol Hill, because no one sucks off Capitol Hill quite like how Big Oil sucks off Capitol Hill.
Got it.
Until now.
On the behalf of the president, it's a little more personal. He was kind of drawn to the industry because they both felt discriminated against by traditional finance. Trump, in the instance of January 6th, after he left his first administration, he's alleged that he could not open accounts at certain banks. And then on the campaign trail, this most recent presidential election, that was something that a lot of crypto folks came to him and said, we've had the same issue because of who we are and what people think about us. We haven't been able to open banks. And so it kind of became this, oh, we're in this together and we're going to screw over the people that did this to us.
The banks discriminated against me.
The reason we got into crypto, and we're all in on crypto, and we're doing American Bitcoin, and we have World Liberty Finance and USD1, was because there was a time, and probably I'd been on this show, where I could call any single banker in New York City. They'd pick up the phone. I'd be able to get a loan for whatever real estate project I was doing across the street. Then we got into politics, and all of a sudden, they wouldn't take your call. Right. You couldn't get financing. We were debanked.
The Trumps claim there's a bias against conservatives in the mainstream financial system. Techno-conservative Silicon Valley types claim there's a bias against crypto in the mainstream financial system. The solution? KISS.
Hello, Bitcoiners. As we implement these reforms, Bitcoin and crypto will grow our economy, cement American financial dominance, and strengthen our entire country long into the future.
Reports say that in the first half of 2025, the Trump family made more than $800 million in sales of crypto assets, on top of potentially billions more in unrealized gains from their new crypto business, World Liberty Financial. On top of that, they've made hundreds of millions more selling their meme coin. This is all burning the path to create a more crypto-friendly America, a future that many crypto enthusiasts are absolutely cheesing to see.
What do you make of the Trump administration's steady adoption of crypto? I mean, clearly they have personal interest in it as well.
Yeah, I'll leave the personal involvement aside. I'm not a government ethics lawyer, and I think that's sort of a separate question. But the administration itself, these are people who understand Bitcoin and care about Bitcoin, and it has actually definitely been a boon to see policy being taken very seriously.
Zach Shapiro is a lawyer with a practice dedicated to helping Bitcoin-focused ventures grow their business and navigate regulatory hurdles.
I don't think this is, an explicitly left-right thing, but I think it's no secret that the previous administration took a pretty outwardly hostile approach to the entire sector, and so we did not have a lot of regulatory clarity either from the agencies or from Congress.
Well, that was like the fucking one economic good thing that Biden did was that they cracked down on crypto scams. God damn, I was really supportive of that.
About what the ground rules are. If you don't provide clear rules, it is really, really hard to legally build valuable things. So what is the thing that's left?
What is the valuable thing that's been built?
Meme coins, right? Those are not regulated. Those are jokes. Those are gambling vehicles. And that's what we saw. Right? The previous administration did not pave the way for the crypto industry to be able to build a lot of useful stuff. And so we built a lot of frivolous stuff that got a lot of people hurt.
How can you say that? How can you fucking say that? When the first thing this administration did was launch a meme coin, a personal Trump meme coin. And then his wife launched a meme coin.
Now, what the Oklahoma City Thunder's Alex Caruso is referring to here are all those meme coins that had a buzzy rise and a spectacular fall. Doge, Shib, Fartcoin, Haktua, Bonk, Mog, Giga, and plenty more that make an 11-year-old boy shart his basketball shorts with laughter. He believes that meme coins like these have no institutional use. Unlike Bitcoin.
The biggest misconception I hear is a misunderstanding, I think specifically of what Bitcoin is. What Bitcoin is, and a lot of crypto sort of on the back of Bitcoin, is a return to a form of money more like gold. It's like a type of gold that's engineered for the internet age.
When Bitcoiners say the dollar is backed by nothing, what they mean is that it's only valuable because we trust the government that issues the dollar bill. They contrast this with gold, which is valuable not because it was issued by a government authority, but because it's a rare commodity. It's long been common practice for mainstream investors to hedge against economic downturns by investing in gold because its value theoretically won't drop if a certain country or region hits hard times. When Bitcoin was created, it was modeled after gold. By design, there's only 21 million Bitcoin that will ever be in existence. And because of this, crypto enthusiasts argue that in the digital age, Bitcoin makes way more sense than physical gold bars as a hedge against the value of government-backed currencies declining over time. Which is basically another way of saying a hedge against inflation. Now, in case you didn't realize, I just spoke a lot of letters out of my mouth, and I'm quite thirsty.
What does a journalist have to do to get a Guinness in here?
Would you like a Guinness right now?
That would be fantastic.
We can do that. Hey, Sydney?
That's Thomas Pacquiao. Thomas is the owner of PubKey, the world's first Bitcoin-themed dive bar / podcast studio. Ladies.
Thomas, in your opinion, is crypto legit now?
Crypto?
buyer.
No, Bitcoin is. There's a big difference between Bitcoin and crypto.
A former employee on the digital assets team at Fidelity, Thomas opened PubKey to serve as a much-needed physical space for crypto fans to peel themselves off their gamer chairs and exchange ideas IRL. One of those crypto fans? President Donald John Trump, who visited back in 2024,
Oh, damn, he went to
immediately
PubKey?
becoming the first president to ever pay for burgers with Bitcoin. Suck it, Eisenhower.
We were not the first person or the first company to accept Bitcoin, but you're starting to see more use as it continues to gain
are you
relevance,
really?
legitimacy.
I'm
People
being serious.
understand it better, become more comfortable.
There's been more people speculating with Bitcoin. There's been more people investing with Bitcoin. Big banks have warmed up to it and put it in asset packages you can invest in. But I have not seen any adoption in any real markets of like you can buy or sell things with it. Not one. It's an absurd, it's not useful for that.
Comfortable with it, then more of the attributes of broader currency are realized.
Through the hardened blue eyes of my investigative face, I could tell that the opinions of Thomas and
There was
Zach
that pizza?
were
True.
crossing streams. Both gentlemen see the mainstream financial system as a hodgepodge of inefficiencies that have been slapped together haphazardly over decades, where you need a broker to do investments, a huge company to handle your financial transactions, another team to fundraise your business, and a whole band of Korean gangsters to kill.
Dude, this is what Bitcoin is now. Like, even if you believe in the soulful mission of Bitcoin to decentralize finance and get out from a central bank, it has been 100% co-opted. Bitcoin now is invested primarily through like ETFs and like there's a middleman of a large bank. That's how people buy Bitcoin now, because it's more convenient.
Kill your co-founder. And they see the best tools crypto has to offer as a way out of that status quo.
You can really democratize access to financial assets that right now it's pretty easy to do if you have a private banker, but otherwise there are sort of a lot of hurdles and a lot of friction in getting the most out of your assets. I think the only two types of assets
so
that are ready for
slimy,
prime
bro.
time are Bitcoin and stablecoins.
Now, again, for clarity, stablecoins are crypto coins that are pegged to the dollar. I am a journalist that is pegged by the dollar. Zach and many of the most bullish people in crypto see a future where stablecoins are used as a means of exchange, basically to manage transactions instead of relying on big merchants like Visa. They also envision a time where stocks and bonds will be secured on that sweet blockchain spreadsheet instead of having to be managed by bankers who charge hefty fees. And these are both things that big companies are already starting to do.
I think in the next 5 years, you will see maybe the vast majority of payment systems in the US basically convert to stablecoin payment systems, whether or not you even know it, right? The back end transfers are going to probably be stablecoins.
Alex Thorne is the head of research at Galaxy Digital, a digital assets platform and data center developer.
There are tools in decentralized finance, particularly the trading and lending of assets without the use of an intermediary, that have proven themselves as uses. And I think one of the big issues there is that we actually want more high quality assets that you can use in those things. The idea that you could use these blockchains, integrate them with traditional assets and traditional systems, and they could bring massive efficiency gains to what is really like, I mean, you need an archaeological degree just to unpack and figure out how the finance and payment system even works in this country.
And I won't lie, folks. After all these conversations and the 14 Guinnesses I had off camera, I must admit that I was starting to warm up to all this crypto business. So I decided to climb YouTube Mount Olympus and talk to the absolute king of
Coffeezilla!
well-dressed crypto skeptics.
I want to be clear that there is some real technology there. It's just, I don't believe it's as big as some people are saying.
Coffeezilla is an independent journalist famous on the internet for exposing crypto scams, from Andrew Tate's meme coin pumping to Logan Paul's blockchain video game.
There are some real innovations, like, you know, if I want to wire some money to a, an employee who's overseas, that might cost me like $10 wire fee. Bringing that down to pennies is actually an innovation. Being able to pay them directly, you know, I know some people in like Ukraine and maybe their banks weren't working too well or they wanted to be paid in US dollars. Being able to do that instantly is good, but I really think that we're kind of bear hugging crypto and embracing it, bringing it into mainstream payment rails in a way that's probably faster than we have answers. I don't want to just make everything about all of crypto is all a scam all the time. But without taking away from that, it's obvious to anyone who actually looks at the technology and the amount of scams who are cropping up.
Sure. I just want to emphasize that, like, if the main way that most people encounter is through the 95% of scams, then it's such a poison to whatever benefits technology might theoretically be able to do. Because at the end of the day, financial transactions rely on one thing most of all, which is trust. People at the end of the day want trust more than anything for their money. I can't hand wave those away and say that, well, those are just the meme coins. I think that is like a deep, fundamental trust eroder for this thing's capability to be useful to anyone regular.
That if you want to actually plug it into finance, you have to be responsible and treat it like an adult and realize the downsides.
So, is crypto legit now? Well, if you're talking about Bitcoin, which could be used as a sort of digital gold, stable coins, which could be used as a faster way of moving dollars around, or blockchain technology, which could be used to make our financial system more efficient and accessible, then the answer could be yes. The level of enthusiasm around that yes depends on how revolutionary you think this stuff will be. But if you're talking about the rest of the crypto landscape, like meme coins and NFTs, well, not even the people staking their careers on this stuff will go to bat for that shit. And when it comes to whether or not you should invest in this stuff, well, I think my new friend Zeke said it best.
This is like the simplest and I think most honest reason why you might invest in cryptocurrency. If this is the future of money, then it would be incredibly valuable, right? Like the future of money, that's like a lot of money. So if there's even like a very small chance that this is the future of money, that chance is valuable now.
Your move, Juggalos.
Yeah.
For good work, I'm Dan Toomey.
That is the honest
and
reason
absolutely
why most people invest is they think they can make the line will go up.
None of this has been financial advice.
Interesting vid. Oh, there's one more part.
There's also this thing that in crypto they call a wrench attack. And what that means is that a bad guy hears you got some crypto, comes and hits you on the head with a wrench until you give him the password.
Oh, so the term is actually just for being beaten with a wrench.
Yes. People are getting kidnapped in an attempt to get them to turn over their crypto passwords. One crypto executive had a finger cut off. And in a world where we all kept all of our money on our phone, like this would become a bigger and bigger problem.
I mean, it's the fucking problem with like smart contracts and everything. Without the middleman, without the government, without the middleman, there's no one to enforce your fucking smart contract. The system is the way it is for a reason. And while you can improve it, the idea that you don't need it, like the idea that if I exchange blockchain information that allow me to buy this house and then I show up and you don't leave, what the fuck do I do?